Night Kirk Frost got caught, everything changed. What was supposed to stay a whispered secret behind closed doors exploded into the spotlight. When Jasmine dropped a bombshell nobody was ready for. For years, rumors circled, receipts surfaced, and denials were made. But what happened that night pulled the curtain back completely. This wasn't just some side scandal. This was the moment everything cracked open. Jasmine's shocking revelation didn't just shake fans, it split the entire love and hip-hop world down the middle. Kirk's face said it all. Rasheeda's silence was loud, and the internet absolutely on fire. This is the night Kirk thought would never see the light of day, but Jasmine made sure it did. And once the truth was out, nothing was ever the same again. The night everything unraveled didn't start with chaos. It started like any other night in Atlanta. The music was loud, the drinks were flowing, and Kirk Frost thought he was moving in silence. But what he didn't know was that Jasmine was about to set a fuse that couldn't be put out. Kirk was spotted at a private lounge, tucked away from the usual crowd, thinking this was a safe night. No cameras, no drama, Brits. And that night, there were eyes everywhere. Witnesses say Jasmine showed up looking like she had something to prove. Bold, calm, and ready. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't sneaking. She wanted him to know she was there when Kirk saw her. The energy shifted immediately. He tried to keep it low-key, but anyone watching could feel the tension between them. They weren't strangers, and it showed. The way they talked, quiet, close, that heavy kind of history that hangs in the air, made it clear this wasn't just some random run-in. This was a reunion with baggage. But here's where it turned. Jasmine didn't come just to see him. She came with receipts. She leaned in, whispered something in Kirk's ear, and his entire face changed. According to people at the scene, whatever she said wasn't a threat. It was a promise. Kirk froze, the kind of freeze that happens when the truth you've been hiding finally catches up. The two of them stepped outside for a private conversation. But private is a word that doesn't exist when there are phones everywhere. A blurry clip surfaced minutes later, Kirk looking tense, Jasmine talking fast, pointing at him like she wasn't backing down. And then, that smirk. That same smirk Jasmine had the first time this whole mess hit the blogs. It was the look of someone who knew she held the match over a pile of secrets. Back inside, Kirk tried to play it cool, but people close to him said he couldn't sit still. Texts were flying, calls were being made, and someone even overheard him saying, "She can't do this right now." But it was already too late. Jasmine didn't just talk that night, she acted. While Kirk was trying to contain the situation, she went live. Not a long live, not enough to give away the full story, but just enough to set the internet on fire. A simple sentence. Since he wants to act like it didn't happen, let's talk about that night. Within minutes, hashtags started trending. People were screen recording, speculating, and digging through every photo, post, and timeline connected to Kirk and Jasmine. Rasheeda hadn't even said a word yet. And the entire fan base was already bracing for a storm. This wasn't just a messy rumor anymore. This was Jasmine making a move in real time. A bomb about to drop, and Kirk could feel it ticking. Kirk had spent years building an image of control. The man who could spin any scandal, smooth over any mess, and somehow walk away still standing. But this time, the ground underneath him started to crack before he even had a chance to fix his face. Jasmine wasn't bluffing. She had been quiet for a long time. But silence is dangerous when it belongs to someone holding secrets. By the next morning, the live she posted had already racked up thousands of shares. People were dissecting every second of it like detectives, zooming in on every frame, trying to piece together what she really meant. That's when it hit. A voice note began circulating. It wasn't clear at first who leaked it, but the voice was unmistakable. It was Kirk. In the clip, he was trying to calm someone down, promising to handle everything and keep it quiet. The blogs got hold of it fast. Big pages started posting captions like, "So this is the real Kirk, and Jasmine wasn't lying this time." Fans started dragging him left and right, saying they'd been waiting for this shoe to drop. And through it all, Rasheeda said absolutely nothing. No statements. That silence alone made the story blow up even more. Jasmine, on the other hand, was eating up the spotlight. She started dropping cryptic posts, nothing to direct, but just enough to make people keep talking. When you've been quiet long enough, the truth gets louder. You can't play me and expect me to keep the rules. That was enough to send the internet into detective mode, digging through old timelines, screenshots, and whispers from years past. Meanwhile, Kirk was scrambling behind the scenes. Sources close to him claimed he was calling people, trying to figure out how much Jasmine really had. He wasn't just worried about his marriage, he was worried about the image he'd spent years protecting. This wasn't the first time Jasmine had pulled him into a storm, but something about this night was different. She wasn't emotional. She wasn't pleading. She was strategic. Fans started pointing out the pattern. The first time the scandal broke, Kirk tried to deny, deflect, and drag it out until the noise faded. But Jasmine's tone now was icy, confident, and dangerous. She didn't sound like a woman who wanted revenge. She sounded like a woman who already won by late afternoon. Rasheeda's name was trending right alongside Jasmine's, even though she hadn't said a word. Her reaction, or a lack of one, was enough to fuel a million theories. Was she done with Kirk for good? Was she already planning her next move? Or was she sitting back, waiting for him to hang himself with his own lies? Then came the biggest hit. A screenshot. Jasmine dropped it on her story like it was nothing. No caption. No explanation. Just a text thread clearly between her and Kirk with messages like, "You know what this is? Don't act brand new. Just keep this quiet." There was no way to spin it this time. This wasn't gossip. This was proof. And with one post, Jasmine flipped the entire narrative. Kirk wasn't the cool, composed one anymore. He was exposed. And Rasheeda. Everyone was waiting for her next move. Kirk thought he had time to contain the damage, but by the third day, the situation was completely out of his hands. The story wasn't just a trending topic anymore. It had turned into a full-blown media storm. Gossip pages, blogs, even mainstream entertainment outlets were picking it up, and Jasmine. She was the one controlling the narrative. People who were there that night started coming forward anonymously, adding more details to the puzzle. One witness claimed Kirk had been way too comfortable around Jasmine even before the argument outside. They weren't acting like two people who were just casually talking, the source said. It looked like something that's been going on for a while. That statement alone sent fans into overdrive. And just when folks thought Jasmine was done, she turned up the heat. She posted a late-night video. No filter, no tears, just her calm and collected sitting in her car. "I kept quiet to protect people," she said. "But when someone keeps playing with your name like you don't have the truth, sometimes you gotta remind them who you are." She never said Kirk's name directly, but she didn't have to. What made it worse for Kirk was how smooth Jasmine was moving. She wasn't yelling. She wasn't being messy. She was calculated. That made her look more credible and made Kirk look guilty. The comments under her video were brutal. "She's too calm." That means she got receipts. Kirk thought he was slick. But the streets talk. Rasheeda better not let this man embarrass her again. Meanwhile, Kirk was reportedly blowing up Jasmine's phone trying to get her to take the posts down. She ignored him. Instead, she liked comments that dragged him. That alone told everyone this wasn't going to disappear quietly. Rasheeda still hadn't said a single word publicly. But she made one move that didn't go unnoticed. She unfollowed Kirk on Instagram. One click, that was all it took for fans to lose their minds. Screenshots of that unfollow spread like wildfire. "She's done," people tweeted. This time, she's not saving him. Inside Kirk's circle, there was panic. The man who always thought he could charm or manipulate his way out of scandals finally looked like he was cornered. PR calls were made, old favors were being pulled, but it didn't matter. Jasmine had the upper hand, and the internet was eating it up like it was a season finale. By now, Even people outside the love and hip-hop fan base were chiming in. Memes started flooding timelines. Think pieces about Rasheeda's loyalty popped up on blogs. Everyone had an opinion, and none of it was in Kirk's favor. Jasmine's final blow that night? A short clip she posted to her story, a video of her walking past a familiar luxury SUV parked outside the lounge where it all started. She didn't say whose car it was, but fans recognized it instantly. Kirk's. No captions. No explanation. Just silence. And honestly, Kirk's world was officially on fire. By the fourth day, the fallout wasn't just an online spectacle anymore. It was bleeding into his personal life, his marriage, and even his business. Everyone who had once stayed quiet during his previous scandals now had something to say. And this time, there was no denying it, no spinning the story, no clean escape route. Rasheeda, who had always been calm and collected in public, finally made her first move. Not with words, but with action. Fans noticed she'd wiped multiple recent photos of her and Kirk from her feed. Not only that, she posted a single message on her Instagram story that shook everyone. Protecting your peace sometimes means burning the bridge that hurt you. That one line had the entire internet screaming. She didn't need to mention names. Everyone knew who it was aimed at. Within minutes, her post was shared across every major gossip page. Comments flooded in, cheering her on for standing her ground. YES, Rasheeda. Don't let him play you again. This is the energy she should have had years ago. Kirk fumbled a real one, again. While Rasheeda was reclaiming her power, Kirk was scrambling behind the scenes. Sources close to the situation revealed that he'd been trying to meet with Jasmine privately, not to fix things, but to shut her down. Word is he was offering her a deal to keep quiet and take everything offline. But Jasmine wasn't budging. She made it clear she wasn't the one who needed to clean up his mess anymore. And here's where it got even messier. People started leaking old messages between Kirk and Jasmine from way back. Screenshots began surfacing, showing late-night texts, hotel bookings, and meetup plans that stretched over months. This wasn't a one-time thing like Kirk had always tried to claim. This was a pattern. The narrative shifted overnight. Kirk was no longer just the cheating husband. He became the man who had been living a double life, sneaking around while his wife stood by him, defending their marriage to the world. And there was trending. So was Jasmine warned him. Meanwhile, Jasmine, who had started this storm with a few words, was now sitting back letting the receipts speak for themselves. She didn't post anything new. She didn't need to. The damage was already done. Kirk was exposed. And Rasheeda was finally looking like the woman ready to walk away. Then came the bomb no one saw coming. A clip leaked from a behind-the-scenes shoot, reportedly from an upcoming reality taping. In the clip, Rasheeda is seen confronting Kirk off-camera. She's calm, but her voice is ice-cold. She says, "You made a fool out of me more than once. But this time, I'm not cleaning it up." That single line was all anyone could talk about. It wasn't just drama anymore. This was a shift. Rasheeda, the woman who had always been expected to forgive, was now the one calling the shots. Kirk's reputation cracked his marriage. Hanging by a thread, Jasmine, untouchable in this moment. And the fans. They were watching every second like it was the biggest reality TV twist of the year. By the fifth day, what started as a single revelation had exploded into a cultural moment. The scandal wasn't just living online anymore. It was on podcasts, then YouTube breakdowns, and even getting coverage on entertainment segments. Everyone wanted to know the same thing. Was this finally the end of Kirk and Rasheeda? Kirk was still quiet, and that silence was louder than any denial. He wasn't giving interviews, no Instagram lives, no statements through PR. For a man who had spent years controlling his image, this was a different kind of silence, the kind that comes when you don't have a good lie left to tell. Meanwhile, Rasheeda was moving like a woman who'd finally had enough. She showed up at an event alone for the first time in a long time, wearing a sleek, bold outfit that screamed independent energy. Cameras caught her smiling, waving, and refusing to answer questions about Kirk. But honestly, she didn't have to say anything. Her body language said it all. She was done being embarrassed. Fans flooded comment sections calling her iconic, saying she was giving soft launch of a single life. Memes popped up everywhere comparing her quiet confidence to a season finale power move. For the first time in a long time, the public wasn't just feeling bad for Rasheeda, they were rooting for her to win without him. Jasmine, on the other hand, was letting the moment breathe. She hadn't posted since her last cryptic clip, but the internet had turned her into the storm. Old clips of her and Kirk from years past resurfaced, and every headline dragged Kirk deeper into the mud. People started bringing up how long Rasheeda had carried the weight of his scandals, and how many second chances he'd burned through. The pressure was mounting, and insiders close to Kirk hinted that things at home were tense. He was reportedly desperate to fix things behind closed doors, but Rasheeda wasn't playing by the old rules anymore. She wasn't rushing to cover his tracks or stand beside him for optics. She was quiet, strong, and steady, and that made him more nervous than any screaming match ever could. Then came one final moment that sealed the vibe. Rasheeda posted a photo of herself with the caption, "Peace looks good on me." No explanation, no hashtags, just that. And within minutes, the post blew up. The likes, the comments, the reposts, it was everywhere. Fans knew what that meant. She wasn't fighting anymore. She was letting go. Kirk Frost, the man who always thought he could control the story, had finally lost control of it completely. Jasmine had set the fire, but Rasheeda walked out of the flames looking untouchable. The scandal didn't just expose a cheating man. It revealed a woman who'd finally decided she was done being the cleanup crew. And just like that, the night Kirk got caught became the moment everything shifted. For Jasmine, for Kirk, but most of all, for Rasheeda. And just like that, the night Kirk thought he could keep buried became the night that flipped everything. Jasmine's bombshell didn't just crack open. A scandal, it burned the entire house down. Rasheeda's silence turned into strength. The receipts spoke louder than Kirk ever could. And the internet made sure the world didn't forget a single detail. Kirk thought he could control the narrative. Jasmine proved otherwise. What do you think Rasheeda should do now? Stand by him again? Or, finally, walk away for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more wild twists and jaw-dropping drama, because trust me, this storm, it's far from over. It's far from over.